everybody, Gage here from Sharp. Excited to have you with me for another long-form video. In today's episode, we are going to revisit the subject of food release. Today's episode is all about the different styles of grinds. In our previous episode, we talked about the different finishes. I feel like we're going to see much more variance in this episode. We're going to be taking a look at the 5 following different grinds. We have the Convex, we have the Sanjo style hollow ground, we have the S grind, we have Scandi grind, and then we have the Ryusen style hollow ground. These two knives differ in the thickness of the spine, so we'll see if that plays any role in how sticky they are while cutting through our russet potatoes. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, our first test, folks, is we're just gonna chop right straight through the middle of this bad boy. I'm gonna try to use as little lateral motion as possible because I find that kind of skews the results a little bit. So obviously this is not the way that you would typically use your knife, but I think it's gonna give us better comparison between all the different grinds. So without further ado, we've got our Convex grind knife here. This is the Fukakuryu 210mm Gyuto from Ryusen Hamono. No stickage, not surprising. We'll try this straight up and down here as well. Very little stickage. Okay, see, so we are getting a little bit of stickage here now as well. We'll have to do another one with technique, because obviously if I just use proper technique for dicage, then we're golden here, but that's not today's test. So straight up and down. A little bit of stickage, obviously, but still coming off the knife quite easily when I wipe it down. Okay, now we're gonna do these guys. I'm gonna just give myself a little flat spot here. I should try to go straight down again, eh?
I would use a little lateral.
A little lateral?
The way you would actually use the knife for this, I think.
Okay, the way I would actually use the knife. Here we go.
Not bad.
It's pretty good, man. Pretty good. I did have high hopes for this one. So that one performed about how I thought it would. Like, tiny bit of stickage, but the Convex, in my experience, is usually pretty good for food release. They don't really get super sticky. So let me clean up here and then we'll move on to the S grind. All right, folks, the next knife up is our S grind. This is Jake's personal Takeda 210mm Gyuto extra tall. Let's get her going here. Okay, again, straight down on this one, no stickage. I feel like this is probably gonna be the one that does the best. What was I doing here? And I'm gonna go straight down like this, right?
In half.
In half. No stickage. Surprise, surprise.
That's pretty good.
That was pretty dang good.
Like you would normally.
And now what I would normally do with a little bit more technique. Yeah, and fantastic. Straight up and down. Yeah, like, dude, that's pretty crazy. You guys have probably, if you're into knives, already heard of Majime knives?
Yeah.
Super cool knives. He uses S grind on a lot of his knives, and the food release on his knives is pretty crazy. And this guy has just shown us why that is. Now we're gonna do a little flat spot, and we're gonna do some little slicey boys like I. Okay, so that was unreal. S grind.
Yeah.
That's it's not a lie, man. The S grind really does make a difference. Pretty impressed with that.
Takeda, please sell us knives.
Yeah, one day maybe. Okay, cool. I'm gonna get cleaned up here, and then we'll move on to maybe we'll do the Scandi grind next, and then we'll save the 2 hollow grounds for the very last. All right, folks, we're moving on to the Moritaka 240mm Kurosaki Gyuto. This guy's got the Scandi grind on it, so let's see how it does. I have high hopes for this guy. Yeah. Yeah. In half again. Straight down. Dude.
Beautiful.
Dude. All right. Very good. Not quite as stellar as the Takeda S-grind style. If you're wondering why we're calling the Takeda S-grind, Jake will probably put in a little graphic of the of the grind in post here. I don't think many people would consider the Takedas to be an actual S-grind, but when you see Jake's, you'll see what we're talking about. It does look very S-grindy. Okay, here we go. That was pretty dang good, man.
It's so hard watching you cut like that, though.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Okay.
Bad potato. Yeah, this feels like it's like, I don't know, I'm having a hard time deciding if it's just as good or if it's just a smidge not as good. I guess this will be the test here. Okay, I'm gonna have one very chunky piece of potato in my scalloped potatoes. Okay, so I think that that definitely confirms that the S-grind is definitely slightly better than the Scandi. Right? This still performed super well, but yeah, you can't deny that the S-grind, like we didn't have much of any stickage happening on that guy. So yeah, I would say so far the S-grind and then the Scandi are two front runners. Convex grind was not bad by any means, and as we've kind of alluded to here, the technique is really what's going to make a huge difference. But let's move on to our hollow grinds. I have a feeling that these are going to be the weakest links, but let's find out here. So we'll start with the Yoshikane hollow ground knife. This one's very thick at the spine, sort of Sanjo style, whereas the last knife we're going to test is Etchison style hollow ground, which means very thin at the spine. So we'll see if that makes any difference whatsoever. So straight down. Yeah, no knives are really going to struggle with that, I feel like, or that, right? Super easy. Let's see how we do here. Straight up and down. Stickage. Yeah. Oh my gosh, what is going on, sir?
It's a tough potato.
Apparently. Okay, and then obviously with proper technique, no stickage. Or I shouldn't say proper technique. You can cut your potatoes however you want, but if you want to cut them and not have them stick, that is the technique. Okay, straight up and down. Yeah, that was maximum stickage so far, I would say.
Some technique here.
Oh, you do want me? I haven't been doing technique on these ones. Yeah, okay, let's do a little technique on here. Just because we can't... the Yoshikanes are so good at everything else. They might be a little bit sticky, but, you know, you just change your technique up a little bit. No problem. Bob's your uncle, Susan's your mom. Yeah, that's definitely the stickiest that we've had so far. Would you agree, Sir Jake?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think maybe the slices, it looked like, I wasn't doing it, but maybe a little better than the Moritaka on the slices.
I would disagree. I felt like that was definitely the stickiest one so far. Like
Okay.
on the Moritakas, yeah, like you could feel it sticking a little bit, but you could also feel it kind of releasing a little bit. And that's kind of why they were like flying all over the place, and they were flying a little bit on these guys as well, but not quite as much as I found as on the Moritaka. But yeah, to your point, you couldn't know because you're not the one doing it. Okay, last and final knife. This is my personal 240 millimeter Fujin Kurosaki Gyuto, made from Algami Super. This guy is hollow ground with super skinny spine. Let's see how she does. Starting off strong, I think. Oh, man. That's the first time we've had any stickage on that first part there. Not the worst. That was a very strange series of events there. I felt like the first two cuts I made, I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna be like the stickiest thing on the planet. But then it kind of started performing better. I'm
The grind's higher than the potato.
yeah. Now I'm doing a little bit of technique on this guy. Yeah. Yeah. And then Jake, you're gonna want me to do a little techers on this one again too, I can tell. Wow, and you know what? Even with using like more lateral motion, this guy still felt a little bit sticky doing that. But then so odd that now with doing these slices, could it? Yeah, so weird, eh?
It almost needs a bigger piece because it has a higher grind.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it.
So this one was the most confusing for me, I gotta be honest with you. I would definitely, I got one, but yeah. No, I mean, it did well in certain respects, but I would say my order of least stickiness. You know what, let me get cleaned up here, and then we'll reveal the results at the very end. Alrighty, so our final results here. I'll go from worst to best. The 210 Fujin Gyuto with the Etchison style hollow ground, I found this to be the most sticky. Even when I was using more lateral motion in my cuts, I was finding this guy was getting a little sticky. Next, hollow ground Sanjo style, the Yoshikane. This guy was less sticky, obviously, but still I found it to be a tiny bit sticky. And we're getting into like these last three knives. So number 3, the Convex style, a tiny little bit sticky, but honestly, on what is, in my opinion, the most sticky ingredient, this guy still performed super, super well. And then our runner-up was the Moritaka Scandi ground. I found that this guy was super, super food releasey. What a term. But it was not quite at the same level as this S-grind knife from Takeda. This guy really, like, even when we were just going straight up and down, I mean, you guys were watching, this guy hardly stuck at all. So there you have it, guys. How the grinds on your knife relate or perform with regards to food release. I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe next week we'll do a food release technique guide. Let us know in the comments what you want to see. Thank you so much for watching. Stay sharp.